Perfect. And we are on. Hola, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I am Kourtney Coleman, your business strategist here. And I want to do this training with you on intentional boundaries. So first, I want to thank you and let's get started. So we're going to be about 30 minutes and I think you are going to love this. It's intentional. Okay, intentional boundaries. What are boundaries? I'm going to be providing you a workbook that comes with this training, so you'll want to make sure that you have downloaded it. And the very first thing I want to talk to you about is, what's the definition of boundaries? Boundaries is a noun, and it's plural. You can have a boundary, which is one line, but we have boundaries, multiple. So it's something that indicates bounds or limits, a limiting or bounding line, defining an area, basically. And intentional is an adjective. So it's something done with intention or on purpose. So this is why I am teaching on intentional with a purpose, boundaries, limits that you would want to set. Okay, sorry about that. We have to make an effort to be intentional by stopping ourselves from being in what I call autopilot. In order for you to change your life from what you are currently doing, you absolutely must stop so that you can make a conscious decision on what to do next. So I want to talk about, where do you set boundaries? Just think about it for a moment. Where are places that you set boundaries for yourself personally? It's in your thoughts, your actions, it's with your health, it's with your relationships, duties that you may do or don't want to do, jobs, your feelings, the emotions that you experience, with people and family. And then the next area, I'm separating personal from business, would be with your business, the processes that you do or do not have, with your time, who you work with, and how you work with people. Now, there are more. I just want to do a short training, and I just feel that those are areas that need to be brought out to the forefront first. So I wanted to make sure that I pulled them out so that you can be thinking about those areas. Well, why do you need boundaries? Why do you think you need boundaries? I want to let's do that first. Why do you need boundaries? Because it provides limits, defined space, structure, respect, which is a must, and expectations that must be managed. And they just need to be managed. Yeah, I'll leave that one there. So what happens without boundaries? Frustration, overwhelm, chaos, distractions, disrespect, and no structure. When you do not have boundaries, these are things that we experience that we do not like and would prefer not to have. But how do we change this? We have to stop, get out of autopilot, and make conscious choices, well, conscious decisions, because we have choices in front of us, that would lead us to this or to having more peace. And so in order for us to have that peace and the flow of what we desire, is to become intentional about the boundaries that we set. So I want to ask you a question. Is there a place in your life where there are assumed boundaries? Yeah, there are. Assumed boundaries would be, I've never told someone how to treat me, but I just expect that you know how to treat me. That's an assumed boundary. Like you assume that a family member knows what not to say to you or how not to treat you, or say you get into a romantic relationship with someone and you assume that they know to treat you like a lady. Like you assume that they open the door for you, they always pick up the check, they do certain things for you because that's you're being treated like a lady. Well, those are expectations that set up boundaries. When someone doesn't meet your expectation, there's a problem. So in order to be intentional about those boundaries, you have to communicate to the other person, this is a good relationship for me. When someone does these things, when someone opens the door for me, when someone, getting out of the car, in the building, whatever the case, like you put me first. If those aren't communicated, that can cause issues and chaos, right? Because sometimes people feel like they're not loved because those preconceptions, those expectations, those boundaries are either the boundaries are like totally ignored as far as the one person, or the expectations are not met. So you want to make a conscious decision to share that information about your intentional boundaries. Like if you are calling somebody out of their name and that you went beyond their boundary, you need to communicate that to that person. So you have to be intentional about your boundaries so that you can be treated a certain way. Where do you intentionally set boundaries? Like with your children, you say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. You don't curse. You do what you're asked to do. In business, it's, these are my payment programs that I have available. If you need something else, please let me know. Like I expect payment on time. This is when payments are due. Like those are intentional boundaries that you would set. So the next question I want to ask you is, what are the benefits of setting intentional boundaries? What are the benefits of setting intentional boundaries? Peace of knowing the limits. There's order. There's no infringement upon expectations or rights or space. No infringement upon time or rights. There's a set up structure and order. When you have boundaries, it allows for things to flow easily. It allows people to know where they can and can't go. What areas do you need to set boundaries? So I want you to think about it. Think about an area of your life where you feel like it's chaotic. You feel like you need boundaries. You feel like there's some things going on that you don't like. I just want you to take some time and think about it. And because it's a recording, you can also just pause the recording and just think about it for a minute. Is it in your relationships? Is it in your job? Is it in your business? How people treat you, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. But I want you to think about what happened to make you think that you needed to set this boundary or a boundary in this area. So think about some instances that has happened that you are less than overjoyed to experience them again. You have no desire for this to happen again. You want to make sure that there is something set in place to prevent any other chaos or misunderstanding. How did you feel about when this happened in this particular scenario? And how do you feel about what happened? Like, I feel this way, and this is how I feel about what happened. There's two different things I want you to look at. Because I want you to understand why you felt the way that you felt, or feel the way that you feel about this scenario. Because it has an effect on you personally and in your business. So it could be that you need to set a boundary on payment. It could be that you need to set a boundary on when you give price breaks in your business. So the fact, okay, let's do this scenario. You don't have the income that you want in your business because you're not comfortable with the pricing. So when someone asks you about the price, you adjust the price by lowering your price. So you don't get the things done that you need the money for because you're not sticking to your price. So there needs to be a boundary set so that you can make the income that you need to make to handle your responsibilities as a responsible adult. So you can't just change your prices. That needs to be a boundary that you set. So if you feel like, okay, if I can't just change my prices, when can I, adjust my prices? If you want to do a certain sale series or a discount for a particular time, then fine. And if that person comes in that time, that's the set discount that they can get. But don't just always be on the fly discounting your services because you can't handle your business, your responsibilities. So you have to set up that structure so that you don't feel like, oh, I'm not doing as good, or, oh, my confidence is low and nobody will want it at the regular price. It's making you say these things to yourself. It's making you do certain things that you shouldn't be doing. So in order for not even getting into self-esteem, but you need to set up a system so that you don't do those things to yourself. Because then you feel bad that you didn't respect yourself enough to keep your price where it should have been because you priced it appropriately. And then you're feeling bad because you're talking to yourself a certain way. And then you're feeling bad because you can't keep your commitments and handle your responsibilities. See, there's no structure and chaos, and it's not beneficial to you. So you need to set up a structure so this way that doesn't happen. So you need to know why you feel this way. I feel this way because I'm not keeping my word to myself. How does it affect in your business? I'm not making the money I want, and then I don't have the confidence the next time I do something because I don't feel worthy again. That it creates this cycle that you don't want to live in. So I need you to think about, what will you implement? What can you put in place so that this doesn't happen? This way you honor your boundaries. So how can you honor your boundaries? Is by setting up a system and stick to, commit to whatever that system is you set up. If it's a personal issue where you need to make sure that you are being respected, then it's communicating to that person what you did. This is how it made me feel. I don't like it. This is how I would like for things to be. Is this gonna work? Can this happen? If not, then this is what my decision is going to be and how we move forward. Letting that person know. That's how you're honoring the decision that you made for an intentional boundary that you are setting. That way you honor yourself and the boundary that you set. And for your business, it could be that you not only set up the structure and stick to it, but maybe add an accountability partner for that to say, these are the only times that I can, schedule out a promotion with a discount, and I have to stick to it. And then come up with something to make sure that you keep that commitment to yourself. And when will you implement it? I am all about accountability and taking action. So the last thing that I would ask you to do is to make sure that you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do or I'm planning to do, but now when? So you need to take action. So you're going to write it all out. And in the workbook, I've provided a space for you to write out 3 main areas or things that you would like to address. So what area needs boundaries? Why do you need it? Because it's important to know why you need it. Otherwise, it's just like, okay, I did something and it really doesn't matter. And then the last part is, what can I implement to establish those boundaries? So what are you putting in place? And just work those 3. Just start with 3 so that you're not overwhelmed. And that way you can at least get a start on creating more order that you want with intentional boundaries that you are setting up for yourself personally or for your business. So that is something that I would like for you to do. And you can just send me a note on Facebook or send me an email at info@kourtneycoleman.com to let me know that you are being intentional about creating structure and boundaries in your personal life and your business. And I would love to know how helpful this was for you. Other than that, I am done. I am being intentional about my time and what I have to share with you. So thank you very much for joining my training, and I look forward to sharing with you again. You can always reach me on social media at Kourtney C. Mentor on Twitter and my Women Building with Intention Facebook group. So until next time, this is Kourtney Coleman, your business strategist. Stay true to the real you. Bye-bye.